Let's begin. I want to introduce the whole woman, okay? Because we live in this sort of combobulated world. This is my health, this is my family life, this is my work life. But we don't actually, as a culture, have a language of the integrated version of the whole woman. Welcome, come on in. It's kind of low-key easy. Integrated. So I want you to just give me, in the women's school we do a lot of rating, 0 to 10. And the reason being is because we need to have a metric for self-assessment so that we know how to study ourselves. The idea of studying ourselves is an important part. If you're in business, we don't think about it for ourselves. So let's just I'm going to go through very briefly, and I just want you to tell me, and I want you to give me a 0 to 10 rating, what you think the teens are in general, not your teens. So just so you know, we don't want to single anyone out. So let's just start. I'm going to give language, okay? So if you were going to say, January, culturally 0 to 10, today, girls, I'm not just saying teens, just women in general, 0 to 10, how would you rate their self-image, either strong or weak? Self-image, let me define it. It's the opinion that you hold of yourself. I am so slow. I am ugly. I am really patient with myself. I'm a great mom. I am awful. 0 to 10 as a whole, how would you rate the, women's self-image today? 4, 3. Wow, that's low. Okay, keep going. It's accurate. Okay, 0 to 10, health. In the women's school, we integrate health, and here's why. Our thoughts impact our emotion. If I am ruminating negative thoughts, I feel anxious. Our emotions impact our physiology. We now have studies that basically say thoughts cause inflammation, but then our physiology, our mental health impacts our spiritual receptivity, right? I used to teach women how to pray. I did it for 15 years for free, but I was teaching them how to build a routine and say no to themselves. Because we have to really see the integrated health. We can't just eat organic and not actually manage our mind. We can't just talk about physical health and not talk about our mental health, because we have a mental health crisis, okay? So 0 to 10, is there optimal health for women today? Which means we feel strong, resilient, fit, but we have life in our life. 0 to 10. Just no wrong answers. 6, great. 4, 3, 4, awesome. It's not awesome, but that's my natural reaction. Come on in. Okay, 0 to 10, friendships. Loneliness is an international epidemic in the social media world. Why? Right? In the women's school, we teach communication. We teach that the crisis of loneliness is rooted in lack of depth of communication. So friendships today, a lot of moms feel isolated, a lot of children feel isolated. 0 to 10, how would you rate friendship? 10 being thriving, healthy, peaceful. There's lots of chairs here. Come on in. 2, it breaks my heart. You can sit right here? Yeah, please, yeah. 2, anybody else? That makes me so sad. But friendships?
I mean, in my world, it's a 10. But
you're so blessed, by the way. Yeah. But here's the thing. People go to, get together. They go to, I don't know, party, a bar, and they spend 6 hours and they come home and they feel empty. Because you have a lot of shallow conversations. Or you could spend somebody for 10 minutes and be like, how are you feeling? How's your heart? Tell me what your dreams are. And walk away in 10 minutes and be like, that was awesome, right? So friendship right now is a crisis. Loneliness is a crisis. Now, 0 to 10, intimacy. Okay, intimacy is that sacred place. It's the relationship that are special, right? How would you rate women's relationship today? I teach women for a living, but you could chime in, because I think we can have successful women without also honoring men, which is what we teach in the women's school. So how would you rate couples today? Are they thriving? Are they being admired? Are they growing every single year? Or does it feel like there's ships passing in it? And I'm going to bring this home to homeschoolers, because we have to prepare them at young age, understanding the language of intimacy with that person, that sacred relationship. 0 to 10. Gets better every single year. I've been married 19 years. It gets better every year. 0 to 10, come on. 7. I'm sure it's amazing. Yes. Anybody else? 7? That's a pretty high number. That's amazing. Okay. Contribution, a sense of purpose in our home and outside our home. Do women today feel as though, you know what, this is who I'm called to. In this particular season of my life, I don't feel insecure about staying home or working both. I know that this is who I was created for. Sense of purpose, right? Because we have a lot of burnout in our culture today from feeling as though we're working so hard, but not clarity. That we are in harmony with our divine purpose. 0 to 10. 8, amazing. Anybody?
Culturally, 3.
Culturally, yeah, I'm thinking culturally. I think culturally, this is accurate 3, but I mean, I'm in a kind of a really good place here. But that's a huge awareness. Culturally, I mean, it's a burnout. People are just working, especially women, without feeling as though, I love what I do. But it's also true. Mothers are like feeling the burnt out. We're doing everything. The demands of women today is double, triple, quadruple the way it was 150 years ago. So you could also be in your home and you love it, but there's no life in your life, right? So, okay, environment. Our home is sacred, and you know that, you're homeschoolers. Is our home life today thriving? Are our children feeling like, I love home? It's a refuge. No, it's not perfect. And it's loud. I have 8 kids, and I'm like, I can't hear myself think. But I love it. And I always ask my children, do you love home? 0 to 10. It's my own. It's really humbling, by the way, because there's certain seasons they're like, ah. But it's a really good question, we teach humility. 0 to 10, what is our life, home life right now? Is it full of life? Order? Peaceful? 0 to 10. It's okay, there's no wrong answer. 4, yeah. It's interesting because sometimes I ask this question without defining it, and it's a lot higher. And then I start to define it, and it's like, just kidding, Okay, wealth. Now, this often, come on in. Wealth, as we define it in the Women's School, is an abundance of time. Oh, so cute. Time, ability to feel like there's more than enough time in the day. We're not running with our head cut off. I'm sure no one feels that way. Abundance of time, treasure, right? And our talent, which means we are giving. We're not just barely making it as a culture. 0 to 10. There's more than enough energy to be like, you know what? I've got time to read a book. I don't have time to read a book. 1. Wow. Culturally, it's true. Or that there's more than enough for, I get in trouble when I say this. I'm like, why are we always told to just, hey, make enough to take care of your family? I'm like, why don't we make more than enough to take care of other family? Isn't that the Christian way, right? Anyways, we'll talk about that. Okay, families 0 to 10. Families are thriving, raising disciplined children that are contributing value to the world. I'm sure I'm in a great place for that. 0 to 10. Culturally? Not culturally. Yeah, culturally. Yeah. Okay, so as you can see, I've just given you language about the reality of a cultural, which means that your children and you are being influenced by everyone else's experience about their life, right? But nobody kind of is like, their friendship, we're going so fast all day long. Here's my question to you. So maybe your daughter or your friendship is a 2, right? And let's just say your health is a 2. Does that impact your self-image? Maybe your environment, maybe your family life? Yes. We don't think about it. But if I'm constantly ruminating negative thoughts because I don't have the skill of managing my mind or emotion or my physical health, guess how I show up to my husband, right? Or my daughter doesn't know how to manage her mind or her thoughts. Guess how she shows up at home. Maybe she's whining and complaining. And maybe she doesn't show up so kindly at the house, right? So what we need to very well understand with language, because language shapes our perception, is that every part of the arena impacts every part of the arena. And if we're only focused on the family life, we're not thinking of health, friendship, contribution, or even our children, we're not preparing them of language, of ordered intimacy or ordered wealth, they could be really sucked into a culture that says money, 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 sleep around, right? So is it really important that we understand the whole person, right? 0 to 10, yes, okay. So anyways, with that in context, I'm going to tell you the state of the culture, just because I think you understand it. I wanted to get your mind thinking. Number 1, it is no shocker, because obviously you're homeschooling, the moral decay in our culture. And I think in the last 5 years, we have just seen the exposure of what was probably going on for decades, but we kind of saw a lot of its surface. Would you agree? Right? Like I was like, I didn't really think human trafficking was a problem. Human trafficking is $1 billion problem. The good thing when evil is that there's a hunger for truth, right? When evil grows, we start to realize the good people are like, wait a minute, it kind of woke us up. Maybe I was maybe asleep in the wheel, to be sincerely honest. And to be honest, because we were probably busy raising our children, like 8 children. It's not like I'm like, well, let me figure out how I can, make dinner, right? Like it's the reality. But the idea of beauty in our culture has been so desecrated. You know who she is? Ballerina Farm, right? She was just in Times in New York's magazine, which was like almost a scandal that she was there. But the idea that beauty, the beauty of motherhood, the beauty of a woman who's not just sort of focused on the physical, but the interior, like we've lost sight of that in our culture. We think beauty, and I'm going to tell you how this is defined later on, has been so external, we don't even see ourselves as a beautiful woman. I teach thousands of women, and most of the time I ask women 0 to 10, do you believe you're beautiful? They don't know what to say. They've never asked that question. They don't ever really think about it because they never thought that they were even worthy of it. But guess what? You want your daughter to feel beautiful, right? But then you're like so confused because it's so physical, but yet like, you want your daughter to believe that she's beautiful outside of just the external, right? But you also kind of want her to brush her hair, right? I mean, I have a daughter who's like, Vivi, let's brush her hair every day. Okay, Mom, it hurts. I'm like, we need to brush her hair. And teeth, that too, right? But the problem with that, when you see the moral decay, there's a hunger for true beauty. We're starting to actually talk about it. There's a hunger for goodness. We're seeing Chosen, we're seeing Bible of the Year, we're seeing that the #1 podcast is about faith. There's a faith revival. Why? Because the moral decay wakes the faithful up and say, you know what, you're right. So it's actually such a beautiful time of Renaissance. Would you agree? But we kind of need to almost feel like we were pushed to the edge, right? It sounds controversial to the idea that we have to define what a woman is, but it is. And, we've come kind of to a point where we're like, minor attracted person, this should be normal. And the reality is that you took your children out of the education system because this is kind of what you're swimming. No worries. I study culture for a living, and basically we're trying to justify that it's okay to be a pedophilia. We have a different word for pedophilia, right? And so this is kind of what we're swimming in. I worked in Congress when I was 21 for 4 years. And, it was a great place to work. I worked for a congressman. And I would never imagine that in Congress they would redefine motherhood as a birthing parent. No, but this is happening everywhere. But but we're trying to do our job to raise children. But the problem is that our children are influenced by this reality. We know it. Our education system is hijacked. Not only obviously the elementary or high school, our colleges is basically hijacked. We're swimming in this. This is the cultural reality that we live in, and the confusion that they have to go through. And it's so baffling to me because it's probably so logical, but whether what you believe, your faith life is like, why is our Secretary of Health a man? Why is our Man of the Year a woman? I'm sorry, that's backwards. Why is our Woman of the Year a man? I'm clearly not confused. I'm used to the impact. But this is where we are. But you obviously know this. I'm just giving you the reality of it. But if you look back, right, 150 years ago, women had no freedom. Right? To now, women have unlimited freedom. And you think about the way women were portrayed in the 1920s to these are the icons of our culture. Whether you like it or not, your children are listening to their music. I was like one time, because I have a 16, 17-year-old, somewhere around that age group. I have 4 teenagers. They were singing a song, and we were at the bowling alley, and I was like, hey, we sing that song all the time. We're, doing the dishes, and I was looking at this bowling alley, and I was like, that's the video of this song? I was like, it was pretty much a satanic ritual, honestly. But you can't keep up with everything because this is just a reality of the world we live in. There's a lack of reverence for men. We're like, we don't need men. It was like equality with men to, I don't need a man to, I can be a man. to the future is female. I mean, this is what and I think what it does is sort of kind of like, this is just not logical. Like, our education system right now is going through a lot of scrutiny, thank God, because not only are we feminizing boys in our education system, right, because obviously, you're in the homeschool, but we're literally just emasculating them right in the infrastructure. But the good news is that we're saying, we're done. We're done. I don't want to be part of the problem anymore. And that's why there is a growing number of homeschoolers. Number 2, technology. Technology has literally transformed our capacity for connection. What fulfills the human heart? Our conversation. Our ability to connect deeply, like, how are you? Tell me about your life. We're not even looking each other in the eye. I am like on it, like when I race with my kids. I'm like, eyeballs, hello, I'm right here. Our house does not only have 8 kids, but it seems to be the hub of the neighborhood, which I love. But when my kids walk in, I'm like, excuse me, you never walk in with your phone. Never. Like, you walk in and you say, hello, mom, hello, and you say everyone's names. Do they do it all the time? No. Am I on it? Trying. But their norm is like, nobody greets anyone. I went to a Catholic school, in grade school in the Philippines. I would be punished if I didn't greet someone. Like, obviously that's not the extreme that we want, but the technology that we live in has robbed our depth of connection. Loneliness is a crisis in our youth, but also in mothers, because we're literally tethered, and our brains as women are different than male brains. Our capacity for connection is bigger than male brains, right? Evolutionary God made us, which means if we're not connecting, there's something off. But connecting deeply, but this is a reality. Technology is actually changing our capacity for depth, okay? So this is where we are. It's changing our brain, it's changing our children's brain. Obviously we know that there's a lot of information, but this is kind of norm, right? This is like the norm. Like my husband and I, because we have 4 teenagers, we're always trying to re-strategize. I'm like, this is the basket where all the phones go, teenagers. But then you're like, okay, they're 17, it's like, just kidding. Phone's done at 9 o'clock. And these are the standards. And then you have to show them a reel about the consequence of social media. And the reality is that it's everywhere. So this is what we are living in. We literally just had to sat down with one of our children the other day. I was like, because we have what is it, Ryan? Is it like they know how much time they have on the internet? Screen time, and I'm like, what does this say about you? I'm like, define yourself right now. I said, I'm not going to be able to police you someday, but you're going to suffer, and it's your life. See, the problem is that mothers have also not been trained to hold their children accountable. We live in a culture where victimhood is actually seemingly a god. We're like, we don't want to ruffle some feathers. I'm like, no, not bring out the whip, but bring out the discipline. We don't want to go back, but obviously I'm saying because you have made a difference with the cultural, but the cultural norm is that there's no accountability. Do whatever you feel like. And parents are the one that's entitling their kids, right? This is what we're living in. And so now our children, right, social media, isolation, cultural negative influence, our education system that's failing them, robbing them of their identity as a human being, because we can't even define what a woman is, right? There's a crisis of health. We're turning things around, but essentially our health industry has been attacked, right? There's an attack of faith, there's growing mental illness, and there's broken families. This is what our children are swimming up against. This is the culture. Now, obviously you're fighting this culture, but the thing is that you're gonna have to prepare them to fight for that culture, right? You wanna take them out to prepare them like boot camp so you can launch them. But if you don't prepare them enough, they will be susceptible to the propaganda of a culture that has devalued them, that doesn't recognize the sacredness of being human. Does that make sense? Right? So we don't have a choice but to train them. It's like if we don't train our children, it's like sending them to war without boot camp. That would be kind of crazy, right? But how are we training our children right now to manage their mind, manage their emotion, to understand their self-worth, to draw firm boundaries, to use language? Language is how cultures are shaped. There's illegal words in my house. I'm like, you're not allowed to say annoying. Why? Because you're going to say that to your brother. No, thank you. We have to understand that language shape our homes, right? So now what we have is that, the suicide. I mean, I don't need to read statistics to you about planned suicide, about anxiety disorder. I mean, 38% of anxiety disorder. This is insane, right? And I always think about this. I'm like, because my daughter's like, Mom, everybody used the words anxious. Everyone's anxious. I'm like, well, why? I said, because their moms use it. Because everything's anxious. Does anybody know what a reticular activating system is, RAS? Yeah, we're going to talk about that. But anyways, this is what we're swimming in. So here's kind of the summary. We have shallow connections, but we don't have the training to process what's happening. But we're going so fast. It's not like every day we're like, let's just think and process how our day was today. What could you do better? How could you improve your mental health? And then we wake up the next day, we're like, hey, got to go to sports, got to go do this. Over and over again, which by the way, this is the midlife crisis phenomenon. It's the unprocessed life that we are seeing. So why am I sharing this with you? Because right now they did the data from 1970s, the longest data on well-being, on flourishment. And for some reason, with the amount of freedom that women have, our capacity to actually flourish has lessened for both male and female. How is it that we have so much freedom, but we are not free? Like, this is where we are. Whether we like it or not, our teens are facing this. But here's our teens, our children, our daughters. Here's what I think is so hard to sometimes swallow is that if your girls are unfulfilled and they're unhappy and they don't like who they are at risk of being manipulated. Whether we want to agree with it or not. If they don't like the woman they're becoming, if they're not dreaming, if they're not happy, if they don't love being home, guess what? They're going to look for elsewhere. This is why our college campus they become susceptible to propaganda. The strength of their interior life has to be something that we intentionally train in our home life so that they don't become manipulated outside your home. You are training ground. You are boot camp. Right? And if we're not doing it, who's doing it? Right? I love baby noises, just so you know. It doesn't bother me. I'm 46, so probably no more babies. Okay. So this one goes without saying, this is a breakdown of family life. The norm has completely lessened. Like, there should be no phones in there. Like last night, I should show you my picture. It was like, we have 8 children, but then there's like a friend each. And even if they do one friend, literally our table, it's just great. It's life by design, But like, you have to be so intentional because they all have phones. You're like, nobody picks up the phone at dinner. Like, nobody. Like, no dings, nothing. Dinner is sacred. Do you know that only 1/3 of people are opting for a dining table? We no longer, dining table sales are down. Yes, isn't that wild? Why? Because we don't think dinner is sacred. My children are like, Mom, I'm like, dinner is sacred, you come home, change your plans. But obviously there's sports and you can't be too crazy about it. But as much as possible, we have to redeem what used to be sacred, which is what you're doing. But this has to be so intentional, right? Okay, number 4, victim culture. Everything is like triggered. Everyone's trigger happy. That triggers me. You can't say it. And I'm like, when my children are like, oh, Mom, my feelings. I'm like, well, your feelings are going to get hurt. You're going to have to find a way to manage your feelings because feelings are not God and feelings can be wrong. Right? And when I was growing up, my parents went to therapy. They had a very challenging marriage, really great, wonderful people. But I don't know why it was, but I remember it so clearly. She was coming home from therapy and she said, feelings are never wrong. And she was paid, it was like I was 13 or 14. And it was like, I remember the number $350 an hour because he was supposed to be a really great psychologist. But it was like this, feelings are never wrong. And I remember thinking like, your feelings are never wrong. Now my children, I'm like, your feelings are wrong. Like this feeling and facial expression is not right. But see, we live in this like victim mentality, like we can't say anything. We've weakened our children. We don't know how to say, you know what, own up. I tell my children, I'm like, if my daughters, they're in charge of my, I work. I run a school for women. And so my husband and I run it. Actually, my husband runs it. He is one of 9 sisters. And he runs the women's school. Did God ordain him for that or what? Anyways, because he's the man who builds everything. So he's amazing. And so, anyways, this summer, I'm working and, I'm home. I consider myself like a stay-home mom, but also work, right? So my children run the show. And so I said, I expect the house to be clean and spotless. That's my expectation of you, right? So which means there's nothing in the sink, and I come home. Anyway, so I come home, and my girls are great. They literally like, Mom, I'll take morning shift 9 to 12 because I still have four, and I have 4 kids that are little, like 4 or 5, somewhere there. And so they're like, I'll take the 9 to 12 shift, 12 to 1, but I don't want them to just watch the children. I want to make sure they watch the children and clean the house, right? Because I said that's how you're going to have to be at home. And for us that didn't get training on order, we're going to suffer someday. So anyways, they come home and there was a pile of dishes in the sink, right? And they're like, and I was like, took a picture. That's what I do. I take a picture, send it to all of them. I'm like, I don't know whose shift it was, but this is non-negotiable. And they know that, and they're like, Mom, we'll do it when I get home. I was like, you're home now. I said, if I don't train you that you are responsible to do the work right now and to leave the house where you've checked the kitchen, you've checked the living room, and you checked everything, how are you going to live your life? You're going to suffer. I'm going to live a great life, honey, because I know how to clean my house. But someday you're going to suffer. So you either come home right now or you're done. And they all came home. They were in the hot tub with a friend. I was like, dry up, come home, okay? And then you can go back out again, unless you have a bad attitude and you'll stay home inside. We've weakened our capacity to hold our children accountable in a world that's so focused on victim. Oh, I feel bad. No, we should feel bad when they can't honor their word. Be a woman of your word. I tell my children, 0 to 10, are you a woman of your word? Lying is obviously a big, white lie is a huge thing in our house. Does anybody do scripting? So in the women's school, we do this thing, scripting, because it rewires your brain, literally. Like if you're learning a new language, right? So scripting is a big thing. So when my children lie, it's 1,000 scripts. My son tells me, Mom, it's actually 2,500. You've been a little bit lax. And so we have, this sort of, and all 4 of my children have written 1,000 scripts. And I am honest all the time in small and big things. I say, if you don't understand the basic foundation of trust, no white lies, then I will literally prepare you to suffer in life. Because if no one trusts you, doors will shut, your relationships will fail. So you either get this right in this house before you graduate, or I'm going to send you out to the wolves. Or maybe you become the wolf. There's no white lies. We have to be tough. But you know what? You snuggle with them, you look at them and say, I love you and I like you, but no thank you. I am not training you to have these white lies, right? So it's so important that we understand. Okay, so questions so far? Comments? I'm just throwing. What's the solution, January? Right? Is this resonating? Does it hurt a little bit? Yeah. It hurts because we're trying to do the best that we can, but there's no resource. As moms, right? So what do? How do we train our children to be prepared for the world? Number 1, life skill training. What does that even mean, January? If you Google, ChatGPT is our new friend, life skill, it's budgeting, change a tire, it's this soft life skills. The problem is that we need hundreds and hundreds of them, right? And so what I always like to say is that, is it hard to raise teens today? 0 to 10. 10? What makes raising teenagers hard? You just say it. What?
I said, I don't think about teens. Raising my 7-year-old is hard.
Yeah. But if you get this right, it will be easy. I had a mentor who's basically saying, January, you get them right, the toddler, teens is easy. My teens are the easiest thing. I have 4 teenagers, and that's why I want to defy this cultural norm. They're easy. But anyways. Yes, did you say, what makes it hard?
My baby's almost 9, my daughter.
Yeah.
But for me, my biggest fear is who we're surrounding ourselves.
Yeah.
Because right now it's really easy. We don't do screens, we don't eat
Yeah.
unhealthy, we play outside
You're doing great.
Older, everyone gets phones, and I don't want to do that. So how do you let them be free and make their own friends, but then I don't want the phone out and you see something,
Yes, it's real. That's what we have.
So.
It's inevitable. So I'm going to come home. Is motherhood hard today? 0 to 10?
Today, yeah.
What makes motherhood hard, do you think?
The expectations.
The demands, expectations. Yeah. What else?
It's really sacrificial.
Yeah, sacrificial. Yeah.
I don't think we have villages anymore.
Yes, it's huge. We're on our own. Yeah, we're kind of to do it on our own. That's a massive, right? So a lot of times we think, I'm sorry, I'm having a hard time reading. A lot of times when we think of motherhood, this is kind of the norm, right? The truth, motherhood is hard. I worry about my child. Whining gets me. I'm always feeling rushed. It's just like the narrative, right? Would you agree, right? And then we have this narrative, it's like good moms, dirty floors, happy kids. We presume that the only way to have happy kids is a dirty home. And we think, yeah, funny, right? But that is kind of like, we celebrate this hot mess mama movement, right? And I think that we're sort of like, well, is it really like, this is like the most beautiful thing that breathes life in our life? Is it also the same thing that robs us of life? I can't imagine that's the way God designed motherhood. I resist it. I reject it. I have 8 kids. It's the most beautiful, life-giving thing that I need to do, that I love. And I know you know that, but this is what they're thinking. Do you know that half of the women today no longer want to be moms? We have actually, and they don't want to have, I just did a statistic on it. Basically, we have a birth rate crisis. Why? Because we advertise how hard motherhood is. But what is really making motherhood hard, right? So I'm going to kind of walk you through this process. Where did you learn? Where does a mother today go to learn how to be a mother? Correct. And our mothers maybe did not have the technology that they could not train us the way we probably needed it, right? But that is kind of like, and then there's no more aunts, uncles, right? So where do you go? So let me just ask you, doctors, lawyers, soldiers, Olympians, decades of training, right? Like you couldn't practice being a doctor, being like, yeah, there's no training. But we think, well, the training you need for motherhood is Lamaze training and breathing training, right? Like make sure you have that. That's what we think. And when I ask women this, because I've done this for 25 years, it's like, well, I got like, make sure I got my birthing plan. I'm like, no, that's not what I'm asking you. You don't learn to become a mother the moment you pop out that baby, right? But we presume that. There's no training skill in mother. Let me ask you a question. What are the skills that a mother needs to transition into postpartum smoothly, peacefully? Okay, I mean, think about this. We train women this. What are the skills that mothers need? Okay, mind management, yeah? Emotional command. Develop a consistent routine, because babies thrive on routine. Our routine, so we know when to shower, when to read, when to grow, when to learn, how to say no to ourselves, how to say no to other people, how to ask for help, right? In the West, we think asking for help makes us weak, right? I Am Woman, Hear Me Roar has seeped into this idea that to ask for help makes us a weak woman. And who wants to be like, I want to be a weak woman? No, we want to be like, no, I got it. I don't need help, right? Honoring our limits. You know what? I'd love to, but I can't. I'm so grateful. Knowing what to say, prioritizing our day. Go through our day. Do you know how many decisions we make a day? 25,000 decisions a day. Indecision leads to anxiety. Where's the training and decision-making skills of 2 decades of education? I mean, learning to pivot. Just kidding, somebody pooped, we're gonna recalibrate, we're not going to that park anymore. And do it with such joy and peace. How to pivot, how to recalibrate expectation. I know you're expecting to have ice cream, but the reality is ice cream's out on sale. We're no longer ice cream. No, I'm sorry. We don't always get what we want, darling, right? Like my 5-year-old, for some reason, he's in a stage where he doesn't know how to manage his emotion. And so when I say something he doesn't get what he wants, he's like, Mah! I'm sure none of your kids do that. You know, I'm like, upstairs, when you're ready, come down. And my 4-year-old's like, he's just recalibrating, Mom, right? I was like, he's just recalibrating. He's like, Rock, just recalibrate and come down. Anyways, he comes down and he's like, I was like, we can do this 20 times a day, but you are not to bleed your negativity at home. You are not to bleed this, because it's not, we don't deserve that, right? And my 16-year-old is like, Mom, I went upstairs 30 times a day and it worked, look at me, right? So the ability to recalibrate, healthy boundaries. My mother-in-law is great, not mine, but this is a script, my mother-in-law is actually great. But you know what, dear mother-in-law, I really would love it if you just came once a week, not every day. I love you, but just no guilt, no shame, right? Order. Sometimes we're like, oh, I've got to clean this house. It's like, if we're never trained to think in order, we think that it takes an hour to clean the kitchen. No, it takes 15 minutes. If you've been trained, my daughters, I trained them to clean the island, in 3 minutes. It's a 4-step process, and I need you to time yourself. I have a timer. I'm like, you can do this in 30 minutes or you can do this in 2 minutes. And I bet you can do it in 2 minutes. Why don't you beat your own time? Order. I'm like, figure it out, right? What about cleaning efficiently? So we're not cleaning all day. What about knowing that your worth does not determined by what you produce? Okay, where do we learn these skills? The women's school. Yes, this is what we teach. We teach hundreds of skills, right? But like, think about this, okay? So postpartum is on a rise, right? Your teenagers managing critics. My daughter was 8 years old, and when we do scripting in our house, and we do skill training. And right before school, we always say, we've got a great class college school, my little's next, and it's a great school. And right before, they get started, I was like, other people are going to say something bad about you. We need to know what to say. We need to have a script because we get ourselves into trouble, right? So we were practicing when somebody makes fun of you, what do you say? Your opinion of me is not my opinion of me, right? So anyway, she comes home and she's like, Mom, this boy was making fun of me. I was like, how do you feel? I was like, I feel great. I just told him my opinion. His opinion of me was not my opinion of me. And it was like, matter of fact, didn't even think about it. I was like, I teach 50-year-old women to do this, and they go for days being frustrated. She just needed a script to manage critics. Who goes through life without critics? There's no greatness without critics. Do we all want greatness for our kids? Absolutely. That's a skill. Learning to fail. In our dinner table, we had this thing called GFG, where we go around, and boy, it's loud, but it's amazing. What are you grateful for today? How have you failed, and how have you learned from it? What have you gained from it, right? Because failure is something we're so afraid of, as though we are supposed to be perfect. I'm sure that's never in the radar, right? We expect perfection without preparation. This is a tragedy for mothers who have to train their children, who expect perfection. What about seeking role models? I was going through my 6-year-old, and she's like, Mom, I don't really know what I'm going to do. She's homeschooling. I said, well, you're not going to know what to do until you find the role models of what you think you want to do, right? Because our role models help us, they've done it, right? Like, you want to have a role model homeschool mom. You're like, I love the way she did that. I love the way she did that, right? What about communicating your needs? Right now, I really feel like I need time away. Right now, I really feel, right? Seeking the good in situation. I was awful. I'm like, there's always a good in every situation. That's a skill and a script, right? Like, we were going to go do this, and it didn't work out. You're like, hey, what's the good in the situation? Automatic, habitual, like language is habitual. So things don't work out, there's a good in the situation, right? That's a skill, managing our tonalities. So when my husband comes back like, hey, or I can say, hey, honey, how was your day? She's like, that's a really good tone. Or don't do that. You may not do that, right? Or like, I love you, have a good night. I love you, honey, have a great night. Do you know that 7% are words? In our communication, 38% tonality, 55% body language. Shouldn't we be learning this before getting married? Right? Like, my children are like, I'm sorry. I was like, you're sorry with your 7%, but everything else, you're not sorry. They know that language, right? What about transitioning? Life is a transition from nursing mom, I've always nursed all my kids, to non-nursing and then pregnant. Life is a transition. How do we master transition? So it's like, it's really hard because I'm moving. I'm like, it's hard because we don't know how to manage our mind or moving. We don't have order, all these skills that we need. But that's a skill to manage transitions, right? What about studying your body? I feel this, what did I eat? I feel this, how did I feel? You know what? I think I had too much sugar. You know what? If my back was hurting because actually I was dealing with that stress in my mind, we need to study our body. How do we teach you to study our body in a health crisis? It's a skill. 0 to 10, honey. How do you feel? Where does that backache come from? Is it the water you're drinking? Is it the conversation you had? These are training. Nobody's born knowing how to do it. What about the skill of learning to hold other people accountable? Hold ourselves accountable. You know what? My daughter and my son, they have 16 and 17. They're like, I needed to give her a script to hold him accountable in the way he talked about her. He talked to her. I said, no, you don't allow a boy to talk to you that way. They were joking. I said, this is what you say to him, right? Accountability, that's a skill. Why? Because they're gonna have to talk to boys, and then they're like, boys make fun of them. The girls don't know what to say. Whatever. I'm like, you don't let a boy talk to you that way. You can say, please don't ever speak to me that way. I deserve more. They need training, decision making, right? 25,000 decluttering. Okay, so let me ask you a question. If we gave these training, life skill training, to all of us as mothers, how would motherhood be hard?
A lot easier.
Yes. But do you see what we're doing to mothers right now? There's no training, right? These are our sample of our training, like how to manage opinion. There's 5 steps. I want you to be able to give this to your daughter. I want you to be able to have this and be like, honey, what about what about this opinion of me is bothered? You need a script and a skill, okay? This is what we teach in the women's school. We are on a mission because right now, the only way we're gonna solve this problem is through training. The formation of the human person is the crisis. And so this is our training. This is me giving an example. How to dream as a mother. How do we teach our children to pursue God's dream for them if we haven't lived that dream? We don't want to look at our daughter and say, you're the reason I gave up my dream. But we think that. Motherhood is a death of dreams. Is it? Or is motherhood an expansion of God's dream for us? That we integrate motherhood with our divine purpose. But see, this is a skill. Dreaming is a skill. I tell mom, like, we're always told to dream but never how to dream. What's the first step in dreaming? Studying the desires of our heart. I do this training of what you want and don't want. And honestly, women don't even know what they want and don't want. What do you want in your marriage? What do you want in your home life? What do you want in your health? We are so busy going through our day. How do we discover our purpose and our dreams without studying the desires of our heart? It's a tragedy. And then we are like midlife crisis. I don't even know what I want. I don't even know who I am in January. Well, we've never been trained. I mean, do you see the crisis? But then here's the thing, right? I already said, here's the thing. Then postpartum, and then we have to homeschool, right? What are the skills that we need, right, to manage our home? How to honor our word? How to condense time? I tell my children, I'm like, you could have done that in 15 minutes. It's a skill to condense time, right? How to learn to empathize. That's a skill. We're like, oh, empathy is such a problem. Like, they don't know what to say, and they don't have the right tonality. I can say, that's too bad to happen. Or like, that's so bad. I'm so sorry. We could make somebody not feel loved by sheer tonality alone, right? But that's a skill. Listening is a skill. Delegating is a skill. The worst thing that we could do is to do everything for our children, right? How to take massive action so we're not procrastinating. Clarifying goals, simplifying. I mean, the list goes on. I'm basically hounding a point. This is one of our emotional command training. Just giving you a sample. Saying no to myself, right? I mean, think about it. How does a mother train her girls if she is untrained? It's like trying to give something we've never really achieved. No, don't be sorry. Right? Asking meaningful questions. I mean, sometimes I go through this, because I speak to a lot of mothers, and I'm like, instead of feeling guilt and shame, I want you to ask yourself, who trained you? Because we start to be like, I'm robbing my kids. I'm like, no, nobody showed you how. And yet you're doing the best that you can with the limited things that nobody showed you how. And that's essentially what I'm telling you. I said, well, the greatest gift we can give our children is to honor the wounds that we have, the things that we've been given. If we have thought that motherhood is hard, then we have to do our part to equip the next generation, right? So now does this make sense of the essential skill training necessary, right? Like managing your mind. We don't have training on managing your mind for mothers. I'm like, 5 steps to manage your mind. Why are we not doing it? This is something that and then all of a sudden we're like, life is so busy, we're not really training, and we just want to check out. But here's the thing, do men have training? No. So they too are enduring the same thing. And then guess what? You try to build a peaceful home with an untrained man, an untrained woman, trying to be better mothers and fathers, doing the best they can with limited what? Training. We are doing an injustice to families. And we want to save families. I'm like, you want to save families? Train. Right? Discipline has become, triggered. I mean, it's like sounds crazy, but it's not. Like, you're triggering me because I need discipline. Right? Your relationship is the foundation of your children's future relationship. Your ability to be able to look at your spouse and say, I love you, honey, but you may never make fun of me in public. I love you, honey, but you have to be a man of your word. When you say you take the trash out, you take the trash out. Like, this is not negotiable. These are the things. I'm like, well, if you don't have the skill to encourage him, complimenting is a skill. I need to understand that I can you look great, right? With my 7%, but like, honey, thank you, because of you, I'm able to stay home. Right? I mean, we don't even teach complimenting skills, right? I need to be able to teach my daughters, my children, 5 minutes, oh my gosh. Okay, so So I have 5 minutes. All right, so let's just recalibrate. That's the right word, okay? So anyways, these are the skills. I'm going to just jump right, okay? Overwhelm means underskilled. That's the reality, okay? And that's how I want you to think about it. We teach life skills. Anyways, I'm going to, this is my, 4 minutes now. Okay, so here's our vision. The Women's School is a grassroots movement for training women how to be a woman in a world that can no longer define what a woman is. What we are after is skill after skill after skill after skill. What we want is generational flourishment, not fluff, go for your dream, empowerment. We want discipline, we want training. And so our invitation is that how can we train our children if we're untrained mothers? Okay, we have to be a grassroots movement of training interior development of our children. We know 150 years ago, it was equality, 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 the fight for freedom, right? Right now, there's unlimited freedom. What we want is interior freedom. The freedom to choose our highest and best self. It begins with you, and that has to be your priority, is your capacity to build your skill box for your children so that they are not susceptible to propaganda. Skill training happens every season of our lives. I have not arrived. Nor are we called to arrive. We are to train ourselves. We have 80-year-old women that are training skills on how to hold her spouse accountable, because for decades she never learned, right? It's not one and done. And so what I want you to think about is the skill training that you are to offer your children. So I know I have 3 minutes. So the Women's School, we offer skill training for mothers and for children, okay? Who wants to be part of that skill training, okay? And by the way, it's reimbursed by the county. So you don't even need to pay for it. And okay, so I'm just gonna go fast because we teach a lot of the neuroscience explaining. So there's a gal in the front, her name is Katie. She's starting a group on August 19th. Okay, essentially, I can give you how to get reimbursed, but she can give it to you too, because I was gonna show it to you, but I have 2 minutes now. And so join her group. There's a teen track as a bonus for free, but also we have a college track that's coming in because now we want to go to college universities because that's how movements are formed. We want to train colleges first to make their beds. But no, we are trained. And so if you go speak, Katie, I want you to go to, Ryan's like, we teach a lot of neuroscience. I want to give you a QR code, right?
Yeah, I'll pass out the postcard.
Oh, yes, thank you. I need 2 hours. I'm such a teacher, I just love this stuff. We teach hundreds of skills in the Women's School, and I'm so passionate about it because it's the only way we're gonna change it, And so, anyways, join Katie's group. I wanna show you the QR code. And here's, oh my gosh, do you wanna take a picture of this real quick? These are illegal words in our house. Okay. Language shapes your home, just so you know, okay? And we teach this in the Women's School, and I'm just gonna tell you how much it is so that you'll see it, okay? So when you go to these are the skills we teach, by the way, for every arena, just so you know, okay? So I'm gonna go through every part of the woman, and we're gonna teach you how to develop these skills, okay? So just so you know, it's the most comprehensive, integrated, practical course you'll ever find in the world. It's 25 years in the making, okay? And it's rooted in truth, which is kind of important these days. And it's rooted in the nature of women and the complementarity of men. Okay, but I'm going to give you the QR code. Sorry, I gotta your sample. So you can just print this out and have it for your teens and your girls. Say again, question. Did you have a question?
The QR code's on the postcard too, so don't worry.
Yes.
What is the course?
Okay, so the course. Let me give you the course.
Steps, are those available somewhere?
Say it again.
The slides.
It's in the masterclass. The steps. So essentially, the masterclass is a 16-class integrated practical life skill training. We start with knowing your purpose, to how to dream, how to honor your wounds, how to develop your strong self-image, unconditional self-worth, and then we go through every part of the woman. So our students basically train their daughters with the same skill set because it's replicable. So it's free. There's no reason why you should take it. It's a $9.97 self-study if you want to do it. It is a master's on yourself. We have doctors, psychologists, therapists, lawyers taking it over and over again. They take it 3 or 4 times. It's pretty in-depth. It's very practical. And so you can do self-study, right? But here, I'm going to ask you something, okay? So join Katie's group.
She has a booth right across.
Okay, she has a booth right across the hall that way, the Women's School. August 19th, it's free. It's a no-brainer. Your teens can have it, you can have it, and you basically watch the class on your own. and you can like watch your kids and all. Like I was invited to speak at this group of 10-year-old to 13-year-old. They're so cute. They're dreaming. They're planning. It's just so precious. You're 7-year-old. Prepare. A couple more years. And then you meet twice a month for like an hour to process what you've learned because you need accountability. But I'm asking here, if there's any mom who wants to facilitate a group, I want you to take a picture of, this is the Life Teen course that we have. It's just a simplified version.
I'll go back.
Okay, this is called the mentor track. I'm asking every mom to build a group because now you can have, we have mothers right now that have 5 groups, 20 groups, 30 groups. And especially in Florida, listen, you get a group of 5, they can get reimbursed. So even the women in your group, they don't need to pay.
And that's through the state.
And so that's through the state. So there's an investment to be a mentor, but you can make money. For every child, it's $700. And the state pays for it. Anybody interested in that? Like get a group? Oh my gosh, can you send the name?
Go for the student first.
Yes, but yes, although we have a lot of women that basically it's because they're facilitating, they're just studying right alongside. So it's really up to you, but we are looking for facilitators to get a group of women, and our student base is all moms, not really, like 95%, because we have a big student base. So if there's anybody that's interested to do mentor, where's the clipboard, right? I'd love to. Can you just, maybe show of hands? Or you can chat with me. Sorry I had to rush this. Thank you. I'm so grateful. Thank you.
This is very cool.
Thank you. I love what I do.
No, you can tell. That's what I was going to say. Like, your passion for it translates very well.
I just believe in it so much. Thank you. Of course. You're most welcome. Thank you. Thank you.
Definitely going to look into it. That is
Yes,
very
okay.
cool. I've never heard of anything.
I know. We're on a mission to share it.
Yeah, I'm just like.
Sign up for Katie. You've got the group.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Oh my gosh. Thank you. I love it so much.
So motivating.
Thank you.
Building toughness. I'm gonna go see Katie too.
Yes. Join the group. It's.
Thank you so much.
Of course.
I was like fighting back tears for half of that. It was so good.
Thank you.
I love it.
I believe so much in what I
was like,
do.
oh my gosh, I want to be here when I grow up.